Of all your fights, who would you say offered you the greatest fear, the greatest competition? Did you ever walk into a ring afraid of any fight?
Not afraid, but always a little bit anxious, a little bit maybe wary about what could happen. You know, there's one thing that you never know for sure. If you get hit in the right place at the right time, you can go down. Now, I always had the feeling that I couldn't be knocked out.
And you never were?
And I never was. But I was always aware that I could be knocked down. And it's kind of embarrassing to be knocked down in a ring, especially when you're the heavyweight champ of the world. So you have this little fear of not wanting to look bad, not wanting to even be knocked down, but to be superior in every way.
This is pride as much as anything else?
Pride, I guess it is.
Pride
yeah,
in yourself.
Pride of ownership of winning something that is big.
Rocky, when you started up the ladder, boxing then was not tainted. Boxing was a legitimate, highly respected sport. You great athletes came into boxing. You did it because you were hungry, apparently. What caused the demise of the decency of boxing? And certainly today, while I'll not judge it as being indecent, it certainly is not an acceptable form of sport like it used to be. Why is that?
Well, I think it's because boxing has become the money game. It's very, very commercial. The fighters today only think of what they're going to earn. They don't have the competitive spirit anymore. They've lost the boyish enthusiasm of what was once a great sport, really.
They've lost that pride.
They've lost it. They've lost the college spirit, and today it's how much can I make and who can I fight, and I don't want to fight him because he's too good and I won't make enough money. I'd better fight this fella because he's a bigger drawing card and I'll make more money and he's less of a risk.
Well, is this going to be a permanent state of affairs in boxing? Will we always expect then that boxing will stay at this low ebb, this low state of acceptance?
It seems to be running in that channel. It's too bad because I've always said we need a boxing czar, a boxing commissioner who could straighten out these little problems like football has done, like baseball has done, basketball. Every sport has prospered, every sport has progressed, but boxing. Boxing is in still the same bad shape as it was 10 years ago, and I don't see any improvement at all.
You think that a czar sitting in judgment of the caliber of the men and the matchmakers and so forth might straighten this out, and if the society were less affluent and some poor boys sought the championship and the goal that went with it, we could return to what boxing used to be?
I really do. I think we need a lot of men in the field like policemen, just watching, their area and their territory, and I think that boxing could improve. I think it could be brought back to a sport, and I know the American public has always liked boxing because we were in 95% of the champions were Americans. It's an American sport, just like baseball, except it's not called the American pastime. But if it were improved a little bit, and if we had control, and if we had people really doing a job, I think that boxing really could come back.
All right, now taking it back to your beginning as a fighter, when was your first recognition of the fact that you maybe had the power, the stamina, the physical physique to seek out a champion, or to seek out a career in boxing? How old were you then, Rock?
I was 22 years old. I had been fighting 1 year, and I fought a man who was regarded as a real test. He was a hard puncher, a New York boy who had 17 straight knockouts, and he was just the man in front of me. I had to get by him. And so we fought in 1949, December of 49. And I took a pretty good punch, a couple of good punches, and finally I was able to knock him out.
Who was that, Rob?
His name was Carmine Vingo, and he was really coming up the ladder. Well, it so happened that he hit his head on the flooring, and it sent him unconscious, and he went to the hospital, and he never fought again. He was a man that was paralyzed a little bit in his fingers and hands as a result of that fight, and there was a change in the ruling. From then on, padding was put on the flooring of the ring, and the Carmine Vingo pulled through, and he made mention of the fact that he had never been hit so hard, and he gave me an awful lot of credit, and he told me that he wished that I would win the title to prove to his friends that he was not beaten by just another fighter.
Lost to a champion.
Yes.